Good morning.
Hello, welcome back. Jamie, you were in Denver just a week later than everybody else. So we missed you. Welcome.
I missed you guys too. I did make it to Michigan though for the first time since June 28th, 1994.
Dang.
Wow.
That's
Very
specific. Yeah, any guesses what I was there 22 years ago for?
I'm imagining some sort of family vacation to like the lakes or something of that nature.
You would have been approximately 10 years old.
Yeah.
A youth hockey tournament.
The 1994 World Cup, Brazil versus Sweden.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Sort of a fun tie-in. I should have Brazil. And Brazil ended up winning the whole thing. The game was actually a tie, but to get to see Brazil got first, Sweden got third in the overall, and to get them see them play in group stage, pretty incredible.
Cool. And it's your turn to be in a lounge this week.
Yeah, I'm on my way out to the Verma Executive Summit, so I'll be in LA today through Wednesday.
Very nice. I am so thrilled. I am home. I'm home. I mean, I'm also going to be leaving this weekend. I'm making a commitment right now. I'm not making plans in June. I need you to hold me accountable to that, but I need to stay home. We'll see how that goes.
Well, every other week, Brandy, don't get rid of your entire identity.
I know.
But
and the work stuff I can't really control. That's just kind of a given. But
of course.
I was in Hilton Head last week for work. Shout out to Kate and her team at Vacation Homes of Hilton Head. We stayed in this incredible house. It was like literally right on the beach. And a lot of those homes are like you have to walk on a boardwalk to get to the beach. And this was like right there. It was beautiful. I'd never been down there before. So I don't hate that that's where I have to go when I'm traveling for work.
It's our old stomping grounds, Jamie. Everybody from Atlanta goes to Hilton Head, Fripp Island, Tybee Island, the Low Country, as they call it.
Yeah, I used to go there to camp. We couldn't afford renting vacation homes, but yes.
Yeah, this place is like, these were really nice. And this is not where I went on vacation growing up either. But did you guys do anything special for your wives for Mother's Day? I certainly hope so.
Well, before Mother's Day was my son's birthday. So we had a fun birthday party on Saturday, subsequently followed up by Mother's Day on Sunday. So I am excited. The work week is here, and the weekend activities, while super fun, are over.
Yeah. I hosted 4 mothers. We had 15 for dinner last night. My mom, my wife, my sister, and my mother-in-law. So we did it right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had my mom and my stepdad in Boston for the weekend. We did this like huge seafood shellfish lunch at Select Oyster in Boston, which was incredible. And so belated Mother's Day to all the moms that listen to the show. I hope you guys were treated to a nice weekend as well.
Seafood extravaganza. I love it. I can just picture this tower.
Yeah, exactly. Lobster rolls also expensive. I now know that going into the summer. But today we have some exciting, some people think they're exciting, but earnings reports. Woo, Jamie's favorite time of year. But before we hop into that, we want to just shout out our sponsor, Plusgrade. Plusgrade helps travel companies unlock new revenue through upgrades, premium experiences, and personalized offers across the traveler journey. From airlines to hotels, they're powering a lot of the behind-the-scenes monetization you're seeing across travel today. So you can all learn more at plusgrade.com. So let's start with Expedia. So Jamie, do you want to give us just like a little TLDR? What is the main takeaway from the Expedia earnings report?
Yeah, I'll give a quick summary. And Expedia, it had a really strong margin beat and profits were strong. Nights booked came in a little lower than expectations, 6%. They called out that 2% of that was, and the impact was because of the Middle East and because of Mexico. We talked about that. War in Iran, the cartel violence in February in the Puerto Vallarta area. And then after earnings, the stock did take a bit of a hit. And that was primarily because, one, the Q2 earnings, their expectations they sort of guided for was like 3 to 5%. And 3 to 5% growth is not what investors were hoping for. And then also with the big profit beat for Q1, they didn't raise their full year outlook for margin. So you got this great Q1, and then they're like, rest of the year is going to be sort of in line with what we've been saying. So people were really hoping that they're going to call out that the rest of the year was going to be good. Management did say that they're being conservative, so maybe that gives them a chance to continually beat expectations the rest of the year. But overall, I think investors were a little disappointed on growth outlook for the rest of the year.
But those in the short-term rental space, it keeps getting better and better for Vrbo. They had their best first quarter in 4 years, and they're on track for the $1 billion milestone, getting $1 billion of revenue, not just through the Vrbo channel, but for short-term rentals under the Expedia umbrella. So promising growth there for the short-term rental sector under Expedia.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of vindication from those years of dealing with all their technical debt and as an industry, us being all like, this is terrible, blah, 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 blah. And they're now, the fruits of their labor handling all of that technical debt and being kind of resilient is paying off. So that's great to see.
Tim Rizzolio, the shining star of our industry.
It was really interesting. There was a couple points throughout the report where they keep talking about the resiliency of the American consumer, and they made a point to call out their more price sensitive consumers. And to me, that just, I don't know, that does not jive with like everything else that we're reading. So it investors might want more growth, obviously, but it's like I feel like you can't just bury your head in the sand and be like, everything's going to be great for the rest of the year when you're looking at some of the other like very real things that are happening in the rest of the economy.
And I think it's important to note that of all the hotel companies that reported fourth quarter, like they were all really strong. So we essentially had a year of really bad hotel bookings, like low-end consumer and economy hotels, mid-scale hotels were really challenged in 2025. RevPAR and declined for the first year, non-recessionary year in 2025. So at least for their hotel side of the business in the US, they've got a really easy comp. Like they're growing off of a terrible year. So that is going to be a tailwind throughout the entire year for Expedia and Booking. But incredible, and they did call out on the Vrbo side that they've now outpaced Airbnb's growth for Vrbo for 3 consecutive quarters. So I think they're riding some momentum there going into 2026.
And okay, we're at the 9-minute mark, and so now it's time to mention AI. So
it's way too early.
So obviously there's an enormous section of this of the report is about AI, and I just thought it was interesting because they said while traffic remains quote small, they are seeing new types of customers or different types of engagement. But I think it's also everybody's talking a lot about in our industry, like how should companies within our space be using AI and blah 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 blah, all this stuff. But know that one of the biggest companies in our industry, publicly traded, is still only seeing small traffic. So it's not, we're all still trying to figure out how this is going to work out.
Yeah. And they're one of the official partners with ChatGPT.
Yeah. I mean, if they can't pipeline that, I mean, it's, but I mean, yeah.
I was going to say you could hear an audible sigh of relief when they got asked about the question of OpenAI, ChatGPT pulling back on their plans to do direct conversion with consumers. So like, yeah, this is hard. Like the whole and service side of this industry, like they do not want to be picking up, and like it did not surprise them that they're rethinking their plans to do direct transactions.
But enabling ads is a total it's another place to spend money. So they're still going to make money off of travel, and 2 out of the top 5 spenders on Google over the past decade have been Expedia and Booking.com. So they will spend, and this could be recollected incorrectly, but I believe Airbnb was one of the top spenders on GPT right out of the gate. So they're testing it, they're pushing it hard. They've made some big bets on AI. We're still kind of waiting to see how some of those play out, but Skift had a great article this past week on Airbnb's earnings and some of the AI discussions. Brandy, do you want to highlight any of that?
Yeah, but before we do, they had the call out about the Uber add-ons. That was a big highlight, and so I just again a shout out to Wil and his predictions for the oncoming Uber super app that will take over travel. You're one step closer. And before we get to Airbnb, and sorry, go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, can I just make one comment? Because my buddy Naveed Khan at B. Riley Securities asked the question on the earnings call to Ariana, like, how does this work? Like, he's like, I get that, and with the airlines, like people sort of connect, like booking their travel and booking their hotels, booking their short-term rentals when they book flights. But you've got a consumer landing in a market, calling their Uber, like, where is the connection here between booking a hotel and booking an Uber? And rightly so, they call it out like, that's a question for Dara, not for them. They're like, we're just powering it, and it's their business model that they're actually going to convert it.
Yeah, we don't have to deal with the Ubers. Like that is
give them the B2B inventory.
Yeah, exactly. Well, before we get into Airbnb, I'm going to give another shout out to our sponsor, Bilt. They're helping restaurants and hotel F&B teams better understand their guests and create more personalized experiences that drive repeat visits. If this is something you care about, loyalty, guest experience, all of that good stuff, they're definitely worth checking out. You can head to joinbilt.com/GMH and find that link in the show notes. So the other big boy in the industry, Airbnb. All right, Jamie, give us the rundown.
Yeah, so after hours, Airbnb actually like slightly dipped in terms of their stock, but then I'm really powered forward the next couple of days in terms of their stock. So they reported nights booked of 9%, would have been 10% if it wasn't for the Middle East. Revenue up 18%, gross booking value up 19%. Those are really healthy values. Like they haven't seen that sort of growth in revenue in a long time. And I think importantly, what I think investors really picked up on is that they did even though they slightly missed profit guidance for the quarter, they actually raised for full year, and they increased their revenue outlook for the full year. So as we think about and what's going to happen in the future, and Airbnb saying like things are firing all cylinders, and they're willing to raise guidance, and really called out some core things in their product that are driving growth. So we've talked extensively about Reserve Now, Pay Later. They've rolled that out globally, and they're seeing incremental growth from that. Host fee simplification. We've talked a lot about that one, right? And that now they're going to be, and there's testing rolling that out to not just PMS connected hosts to more in certain countries. AI search growing. They're going to talk about that at the product release next week. And then hotels and growing more than twice their core business. And I think that's going to be really big for them going forward. And I think investors, and I've talked with a lot of them, they are really excited about the potential of the hotel business, even though it's in low single digits now, to be able to compete with Expedia and Booking for that, and gives them a lot of opportunity.
How long until they start signing up the major flags?
I think it's still a year or two.
Okay.
And
they ride the commitment of independent hotels for another year or two
until you got to increase that PAM.
Growth starts dipping, and then boom, we signed Marriott.
Yeah, and it is a harder way to go about growth, right? And the independents are the harder ones to get. You got to go to each of them one at a time, and you can't just go to a few REITs and get all their hotels that are going to be distributing, because all the REITs have branded properties. So Marriott's it is
not putting it on there at full rack rate either. So you're going to have to cut margins a little bit.
Yeah,
it's so funny. Sorry, when that happens, when Marriott signs up, I'm just going to go back and set my undergrad thesis on fire. For those of you who haven't heard, I did it on the changes of consumer behavior towards the sharing economy and used Airbnb as an example of how, this was going to change the sharing. I mean, it changed a lot, but signing Marriott hotels will just be the final nail in the coffin, disproving pretty much everything I wrote about. So.
Okay, the world's changed a lot, Brandy, in the 2 years since you graduated.
Oh, yes, exactly. Only 2 years ago.
But then the other thing I'll call out is, and it does feel like they've sort of quietly rolled out the best loyalty program in the industry, even though they don't call it a loyalty program for hotels, and how they had the 10% cash back for Hotel Tonight bookings. Now, if you go and book a hotel on Airbnb, you're getting that same 10% cash back to be able to then use on a short-term rental booking. And they've called out that 55% of the hotel bookers are returning to then book a home. So, and Expedia and Booking have had great success of taking a hotel booker and then converting them to a short-term rental booker. That's driven a lot of their Booking and Expedia's incremental growth. And Michael, you called it out, $1 billion in bookings for Vrbo properties through Expedia. That is a major vector to growth. So, and I think a huge question is can they do the same, but having to go create the hotel inventory first to then get the incremental growth on their short-term rentals?
Yeah, and the incremental growth of net new guests to short-term rentals over the past few years is largely plateaued and flatlined. So hopefully this is a vector of growth for the whole industry. And the repeat booking after a guest has stayed in a short-term rental is very strong. So I like this approach. I like it, the direction it can be for the industry. I don't know how long this promotion is going to go on. They're clearly not making.
I was just about to say
money.
that. How long do you think 10% is going to stay there?
Not a whole lot longer. But in terms of booking corporate travel for the next few trips and then converting that to a family vacation, 10 out of 10. Great approach.
Yeah, the another interesting component that we had chatted about offline, but is their AI agents, because obviously they had to talk about all of their AI efforts and how their coders are doing, or their engineers are able to do twice as much work as everybody else because of all of their blah, blah, blah AI efforts. Which I love that they say compared to the industry standard of how do you know how fast your competitors are coding? But I don't know. Somebody else can answer that for me. But Airbnb's AI agents are resolving 40% or handling 40% of all of those communications. Interestingly, Expedia's is 30%. So it's catching up. I was wondering if maybe some of the complexities of flights might be reducing their ability to handle some of that. And while that's really interesting, and I know there's a ton of people in our space that are playing with AI agents, Conduit is a great example of that. I, at our meeting last week in Hilton Head, one of the operators, she was saying, well, there's the automatic refund, up to 15% that Airbnb will give a guest. And right now that's happening with some real agents, right? Just real people that are yep, fine, we'll refund you. And you as a host don't get to really challenge that. And so I don't know if we have any information on, probably not, how much that's happening with the AI agents, because I can see that being part of the decision tree, right? Just
and it's people like us that start telling it out there that they'll automatically refund you 15%. Next time you stay in an Airbnb, there you go. You got 15% off. Just wait till after your stay and complain, and the AI agents will give it to you automatically.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not, but like that's crazy, right? Like I think there's the other side of this is like operators are going to start building like their own AI agents to like build the defense to get the money back. I mean, I don't know. It's just going to be a bunch of bots talking to each other at some point. 15% just flying around.
From the Airbnb article, mostly revolving around AI, two things jumped out to me. One is 60% of the code that they produced was aided by AI. I, as an outsider, am kind of shocked it's not higher, but I also know that your traditional engineers are very cautious of their code. So I do suspect that will be a number that continues to rise for everybody. I think it was Anthropic or one of them said 90% of their own code they put out is AI aided. So the industry's heading that way. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll leave it to you to decide. The other thing that jumped out, and Jamie mentioned it about the reserve now, pay later, but that was 20% of Airbnb's gross bookings last quarter.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of people saying, I'll pay for this later. And we talked about it a little bit pre-show, but that has to lead to more cancellations. Jamie, do you have any specific numbers on it besides it definitely leads to more cancellations?
Yeah, I don't have a specific number, but they have called out that cancellations have materially increased for guests that are using Reserve Now, Pay Later, but that the incremental gain in bookings way outpaces the increase in cancellations. So you're still getting more bookings on net, and you're going to have to deal with a slightly higher assumption around cancellation rates.
Yeah. I mean, if you're booking a $6,000 vacation, it is nice to be able to break that up and not just slap it all on your card. And so I can definitely see, I mean, this is for something like Airbnb, this makes a lot of sense. I think it gets kind of crazy when you're like, oh, people are doing buy now, pay later for burritos, and stuff like that. So like, I mean, there's different levels. Booking a vacation, this makes a lot of sense. Getting guests that are more likely to be like, oh, if I can stretch this out, like, and keeping those guests within the pipeline. It'll be interesting to see having a full year of their data on the cancellations, and kind of doesn't really, I guess, impact hosts. I mean, you do have your calendar like blocked up, unfortunately, but it's not affecting your cash flow necessarily if you can rebook it, because you wouldn't get that anyways. One of the other partnerships I didn't understand, I like totally missed this the first time it went around, but their Delta partnership, I feel like did I miss that how long have they had a Delta partnership for? I know they've added to it.
It's been in the app a while.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, is this, I don't know, too many things happening. But
well, on Airbnb and another one of Will's predictions, I got invited to join by Airbnb directly to join my local host group on their platform.
Oh my God.
I have not done it because I have not hosted in about 7 years. So still blown away that I'm on their list of hosts.
I don't even own the house one time.
Anymore. I hosted 4 or 5 times. But it's been 7 years and I don't even own the home anymore. But it's cool that I still get some email comms from them and get plugged into updates like trying to launch their local host community.
One more comment though on Airbnb before close out on that one is, because it's earnings time, I think Brian's been going on a bunch of different podcasts. So he was on the TBPN one, I think 2 days ago. He was on Invest Like the Best last week. And it is a good listen to get a sense of where his mind is around AI. And one of the things he called out is that at Airbnb, more than likely people managers are gone. Like if you're just managing people in the age of AI, like your job's over. And even him is using Claude and vibe coding ideas on a day-to-day basis, and you give designers access to these tools, and it's things are moving fast. Like they think and with their throughput, with 60% of code being written, and there's just not going to be the need for managing people. He said he's not going to move to all 7,000 reporting just to him, but the levels within the organization are going to
everybody reports to Brian.
I don't think that there have been these articles about companies that have tried to rely solely on that, but then the cost of the tokens is so expensive that then they're like, oh, we're going to hire people to do the basic code again. Like that's what your employees were doing before you fired them, was like some of that basic coding. I think managing people, that's the interesting part. Like that's the part that like AI cannot do. The soft skills, the people skills, still need effective managers and leaders to run your like workforce.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to remove people when there's management. So who's gonna, is a robot or is AI gonna fire you?
This is a dystopian hellscape future I don't want to think about.
A robot has a bad day and everybody's fired. I mean, come on, it could happen. It could happen. I want to know if this can happen as we look at more buy now, pay later promotions, and it becomes a fifth of Airbnb's reservations. Why not offer some sort of club or membership where you pay X amount a month, and then they get to use those credits with some sweetheart discount attached to it towards their next trip? Is a club model or a subscription model possible, Brandy, Jamie?
I don't think so. I mean, it could be another, I wouldn't be like shocked if that's something that they did, but I don't know if that's something that people are going to want to pay for. The over subscription of like our lives, I do think that there's kind of like a breaking point where people I don't want to pay monthly for something. I just want to pay when I use your service. But if the idea is that then you use more of their experiences and services when you're not traveling, and that hooks you in, I mean, I can definitely see that being something that they would be into. But it took them a long time to do loyalty, or even like some version of loyalty. I don't know if subscriptions are going to be.
I wouldn't even call it loyalty. I'd call what they're doing right now an incentive. It's a conversion incentive.
A bribe.
A bribe. Yes.
We will give you 10% that Expedia and Booking.com will not give you. So give us your bookings. Jamie, subs?
Yeah, I don't think subs is going to be the way they do it. Sort of credits, things like that. And they're clearly going to launch something. But subs, like the Inspirato type model, I think you're sort of hinting at. Yeah, I don't see that scaling on the platform.
All right.
Well, I think Jamie probably has the most exciting week ahead of us. What are you looking forward to the most about the Verma Executive Summit?
I'm doing a presentation tomorrow with Jason from Key Data. And we're going to.
Oh, wow.
He just announced his retirement. Congrats.
Just announced his retirement. Yeah. This is going to be his last presentations. Yeah. So we're talking about how AI is going to be impacting the demand side of short-term rentals over the next 5-10 years. So we're all talking about how we're using it like to run our businesses better, but is it actually going to lead to a net benefit and more people traveling? And sort of taking a look back at historical gains in productivity and what that means and how this time could be different. Really, I think it's going to be a fun topic.
I want to see that deck.
Yeah.
I'm not going, but I need a copy, Jamie.
I'll send it around.
How about you, Michael? What's on your agenda this week?
Good question. Same old. And I'm excited about it. It is, we've got 2 more weeks of school with little man, and then off to the beach for a week. And then the summer chaos sets in. So for all those parents, you guys get it.
Well, I have almost an entire straight week at home, so that's great. I have to drive down to New York. A friend of mine from Ireland is flying into New York, so I'm meeting her there. So, but I get like 4 straight weekdays.
That's not a week at home. I hate to break it to you. New York is not your home.
I know.
Nice try.
Just let me.
You're coping over here.
I'm coping. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in. Our live listeners, as always, Paul, Steve, thank you for chatting with us. And for all of those listening later, thank you for checking us out. And we'll see you guys all next week.